You know that moment you realize you've become a stranger in your own home? I used to think marriage meant loyalty. Then I discovered my wife was dressing up for someone else. And it wasn't me. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just watched her fall apart while I silently took back control of my life. And when she begged for forgiveness, I gave her the one thing she feared most: indifference. I used to believe silence meant comfort. You know, that kind of quiet you share with someone after years of knowing them so well. Words just aren't needed. Turns out silence can also mean distance, the kind that creeps in so slowly you don't notice until you're staring across the dinner table at someone who stopped seeing you a long time ago. My name's Mark. I'm 34, work in IT for a mid-sized firm in Denver, and up until recently I was married to a woman I thought I knew, Rachel. We'd been together 8 years, married for 6. Not flashy, not Instagram famous, just solid. Or so I thought. We were the boring couple in our friend group, the ones who hosted game nights and always RSVP'd on time. We didn't do grand romantic gestures, but I thought what we had was real. Looking back now, the signs were there. You just don't see the cracks when you're focused on holding the pieces together. It started small. Rachel became distracted. No big fights, no outbursts, just distance. When I walked into a room, it felt like I was interrupting something, even if she was alone. Her attention was always somewhere else, usually her phone. She still smiled, still said thanks when I made dinner or brought her coffee, but her eyes rarely met mine. I didn't want to jump to conclusions. Everyone goes through phases. Work stress, burnout. It happens. So I stepped up. I picked up her favorite snacks on the way home, took over more chores, even planned a weekend getaway, just the two of us. She nodded, smiled, but something was missing. Not coldness, worse, indifference. When you love someone, you learn to read their silence. Rachel's didn't say, "I'm tired." It said, "I don't see you." I noticed she was putting more effort into her appearance, but not for me. Full makeup just to grab coffee. Dresses she hadn't worn in years suddenly became her new normal. I joked once, didn't know Starbucks required a runway look. She smiled tight and said, "I like feeling good." It wasn't what she said, it was how she said it, like I wasn't part of the equation anymore. Then came the names: Jason from work, Leo's wife Greg. Each one dropped casually into conversation. Jason says I have great taste in shoes. Leo's wife and he go salsa dancing every week. Sounds fun, right? Greg sends his wife flowers every Friday. So romantic. Each name was a quiet comparison. Each story chipped away at me, even if I pretended not to notice. I started wondering if I'd become invisible to her, so I tried harder. I hit the gym again, cleaned up my wardrobe, got a new haircut, not for anyone else, just to feel worth something. For a moment, I thought it worked. One night at a friend's birthday, she actually laughed at something I said. That laugh used to be everything to me, but on the drive home, she shattered the illusion. "You don't need to try so hard," she said, scrolling through her phone. "Just be yourself." That landed harder than any insult. Be myself? The guy she hadn't touched in months? The one she couldn't even make eye contact with? I started to feel like a placeholder, like she was waiting for something or someone better. I didn't want to believe it, but then things escalated. She changed her phone password, started locking the bathroom door. Her gym sessions went from routine to ritual. Her friend group included a new name, Drew. She'd never mentioned him before, but suddenly he was everywhere. Always in passing, always casually. I didn't check her phone. I wanted to, but I held back. Not because I trusted her. I didn't. I just didn't want to be the guy who needed evidence to confirm what he already knew. One night, I canceled plans with friends because she mentioned feeling off. I stayed home, made her tea, rubbed her shoulders. She didn't thank me. She just looked satisfied, like this was how it was supposed to be. That's when it hit me. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her audience. Rachel wasn't rejecting me outright. She was baiting me, pulling away just enough to make me chase her, making me beg for connection so she could feel in control. And I let her. For a while I begged. I clung to what little affection she offered. I fought for the scraps. But that night, that exact moment when she smirked after I gave up a night out for her, I knew I wasn't her husband anymore. I was a prop, a mirror she used to see how much control she still had, and that's when everything changed. After that night, something in me shut off. I didn't tell Rachel. I didn't make a speech or stage a dramatic confrontation. I just stopped reacting. No more questions about her day. No more surprise coffees. I still did my part, paid bills, cleaned up, played the role, but the spark was gone. She didn't notice at first. Maybe she assumed it was just another phase, like all the others I'd supposedly worked through. But indifference has a way of unsettling people used to having control. I pulled away in small ways, skipped her favorite shows, stopped asking for company when I ran errands. If she texted to say she'd be late, I didn't respond. If she asked how I slept, I answered with one word. The less interest I showed, the more she started to take notice. "You've been quiet lately," she said one evening while painting her nails. "I'm just tired," I replied without looking up from my phone. She waited, probably expecting me to ask her about her day or compliment her nails. I didn't. For the first time in months, I watched her look confused. Not upset, confused, like someone who suddenly realized the remote wasn't working anymore. From that moment, I started watching her more closely. I noticed how her mood lifted when she was getting ready for the gym. Only now the gym was less about fitness and more about transformation. The way she checked her reflection twice before leaving, the subtle excitement that didn't match the routine. Her gym bag was always close by, guarded like it held more than clothes. I stopped pretending not to notice. One morning I told her I had an early meeting. I left, gym bag slung over my shoulder, but didn't go far. I parked a couple blocks away and waited. An hour later, Rachel left the house, full makeup, hairstyled, not dressed for a workout. She didn't head to the gym. She turned the opposite direction, toward the business district. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. I'd seen enough. When she came home later, holding a smoothie like a prop, she kissed my cheek and smiled like nothing was wrong. That's when it stopped being suspicion. Now it was certainty. There was someone else. I just didn't have a name. Yet. That changed 2 weeks later, thanks to Samira. She and her fiancé had been part of our social circle. Dinner a few times a year, occasional texts. We hadn't heard from them in a while, so when I got a message from Samira asking if everything was okay between Rachel and me, I played dumb. "Why do you ask?" Her reply came after a pause. "Because I saw her last week with Drew, rooftop bar downtown." It didn't look platonic. Drew, the name I'd heard too many times, the friend from the gym, the one who always came up in passing. I didn't ask for a photo. I didn't need proof. If Samira had reached out, it meant she'd seen something clear enough to override her own discomfort about saying anything. I thanked her, set the phone down, and went upstairs to fold laundry. Rachel sat on the couch, scrolling, laughing softly at something on her screen. That night, for the first time in months, she touched me, casually like nothing had changed. Her hand rested lightly on my back. I didn't feel a thing. Later, I poured myself a drink and sat in the kitchen alone. I didn't rage, didn't cry. I just sat with the reality I'd been avoiding. Rachel had left our marriage long before Drew showed up. The affair wasn't the betrayal, it was the confirmation. Still, I didn't confront her. I wasn't interested in tears or half apologies. I was after clarity and control. I stopped showing interest entirely. If she came home late, I didn't ask why. If she looked nice before heading out, I didn't say a word. Slowly, I erased the role she'd given me, the one of the desperate husband always asking for her time. And the shift rattled her. She started trying to close the gap. Complimented me out of nowhere. Told me I looked good in a shirt she hadn't noticed in years. Asked if I wanted to go out for dinner. "That Thai place you like?" "I've got plans," I said without looking up from my laptop. "With who?" I looked at her. "Someone who listens when I talk." Her face changed. For the first time, she didn't have a comeback. No sarcastic smile, just a flicker of discomfort. She was losing her grip, and she knew it. I kept my moves subtle but deliberate. Turned off location sharing, removed my updates from our shared calendar. When she questioned it, I said I wanted privacy. The irony wasn't lost on me. Rachel, who once guarded her phone like a vault, now accused me of being distant and shady. One night she came home early, clearly trying to catch me in something. She walked through the house too fast, eyes darting, questions vague but pointed. Did you eat already? Yeah, alone. Should I have waited? I asked. She didn't respond, just stared, like she didn't recognize me anymore. I wasn't seeing anyone else. I didn't need to. Letting her wonder was enough. Letting her feel the uncertainty she once fed me, day after day, was justice in its purest form. Then came the breakdown. Tuesday night, I walked in from the gym, and there she was, curled up on the couch, wine glass full but untouched. She didn't even let me set down my bag before saying it. We need to talk. Okay. I feel like we've drifted, she began. Maybe, maybe I'm partly to blame. That was new. Rachel never admitted fault, not once in 8 years. I miss us, she said. I know I've been off lately, distracted, but I want to fix this. Distracted. That word told me everything. It was her way of minimizing the affair, turning a betrayal into a phase, a lapse. Maybe she thought if she cried, I'd hold her, that I'd blame myself for growing distant. What do you want to do about it? I asked flat. She blinked. I think we should reset, maybe go away together, reconnect. I nodded just once, then said, Is that what you told Drew too? Everything in her face changed. The color drained, her lips parted, but no words came out. You tried to make me feel crazy, I said, but the truth has a way of surfacing. I stood, calm, walked upstairs. I'm going to shower. Dinner's in the fridge. I heard nothing behind me. Not footsteps, not words, just silence. The one thing she never knew how to handle. Rachel didn't speak that night. She just sat on the couch, wine untouched, staring at the blank TV screen while I moved around the house like she wasn't there. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask her anything. I just let the silence work. And it did. The next morning, she lingered in the bedroom longer than usual. She didn't leave for work at her normal time. Didn't apply her usual perfume. Didn't grab her gym bag. She made coffee but didn't hand me a cup. Instead, she hovered, watching me like I was some stranger who'd wandered into her home. I said nothing. By the time I stepped out the door, her eyes were locked on me, searching for answers I wasn't going to give. I'd already made my decision. A week before, after Samira's text, I had met with a lawyer. I'd laid out everything. The emotional detachment, the suspicions, the timeline, and finally the connection to Drew. I even brought screenshots, posts where Rachel conveniently cropped me out, gym check-ins that didn't match up, and a brief voice memo from the night before. Her calling what happened a distraction. It was enough. The plan was simple. No drama, no fights, no drawn-out battles. Just a clean break. I had already begun the process of selling my share of the house to her. I didn't want anything but freedom, no alimony, no strings. All I needed was the right moment to deliver the paperwork. It came 3 days later. I had it served while I was at work. I made sure she'd be home alone. The courier dropped the envelope on the kitchen counter, said her name, and left. 15 minutes later, my phone lit up with a call from her. I didn't answer. Then came the text. Paragraphs. First confused, then angry, then apologetic. I read none of them. That night, I slept in the guest room. When I walked into the bedroom to grab a change of clothes, she was sitting on the edge of the bed, eyes red, voice barely above a whisper. Why are you doing this? I looked around the room, then said calmly, I used to love this space. Thought it belonged to both of us. Now it just reminds me of everything you hid. I said I was sorry. You said it was a distraction. I walked out and locked the door behind me. She didn't follow. In the days that followed, she tried to rewrite the story. Mutual friends reached out with concerned texts. Apparently, she was telling people I was going through something. A breakdown, maybe, that I was distant, depressed. Not myself. That's when I stopped being silent. I didn't blast her online. I didn't join the gossip circuit. I just sent one screenshot to two people, Samira and Rachel's sister. It was a message Rachel had sent Drew. I hadn't seen it directly, but Samira had forwarded it to me, knowing it would come in handy. I need you to wreck me the way he never could. I didn't add a caption. Didn't need to. Word traveled fast after that. A few days later, Rachel showed up at my workplace. Security called me. I told them to send her away. Then came an email. Please, just talk to me. I didn't open it. I was done trying to fix someone who had been breaking me by design. Let her sit in the silence. Let her wonder when exactly she lost me, because I wasn't going to tell her. I wasn't going to give her a single thread to pull on. The truth? I didn't even hate her. I just didn't feel anything anymore. And for someone like Rachel, someone who fed off attention, affection, control, that was the worst punishment of all. Every day in the house after that was heavy, not because of what was said, but because of what wasn't. She started trying again. Small gestures, made my favorite breakfast, folded my laundry, left her phone face up on the counter as if that erased everything it had once hidden. She even changed how she dressed. No more full makeup for fake gym sessions. No more tight clothes or sudden perfumes. Now it was sweats and t-shirts and a face stripped of the confidence she used to wield like a weapon. It didn't matter. I wasn't fooled. One night she sat across from me at the kitchen table. I want to try again, she said, voice cracking. I leaned back, watched her carefully. Try what again? Us. There is no us, Rachel. Just me. And the version of you I used to believe in. She cried, not the careful, manipulative kind of crying I'd grown used to, but real sobs. Maybe for the first time, she understood that I wasn't bluffing. I didn't hold her hand. I didn't promise anything. I just sat there, quietly watching her fall apart. Because this wasn't about one lie, or even one affair. It was about the slow dismantling of something that used to be honest. It was about the power games, the manipulation, the need to make me feel small so she could feel important. And now, with nothing left to measure herself against, she looked smaller than ever. She begged, I'll go to therapy. I'll do anything. Just please don't walk away. I looked her in the eyes. You never gave me anything when it mattered. And now, I don't want anything you have left to give. She clutched her stomach like the words had landed physically. Still, I didn't raise my voice. Didn't bring up Drew. I already knew how that ended. He disappeared the second things got complicated, probably ghosted her when she hinted at a future together. She reached for my wrist. You can't just leave me. I pulled my arm away gently. You left a long time ago. I'm just following your lead. Then I stood up, grabbed the suitcase by the stairs, already packed, and walked out. No goodbye. No look back. I had paid for my freedom in full. Now I was finally ready to use it. After I left, the silence followed me. But for the first time in years, it felt clean. My new apartment was smaller, quieter, but it was mine. No shared closets, no locked phones, no waiting up to hear a door open or guess what mood would greet me when I walked in. I could breathe again, and I didn't realize how much I'd been holding my breath until the first night I slept through without waking. Rachel tried everything after I left. Emails, voicemails, a letter. Handwritten, dramatic, full of emotional appeals and vague promises. I didn't answer any of it. I had nothing left to say, and she had already said more than enough. Some of our mutual friends reached out. A few tried to stay neutral, asking if there had been a misunderstanding. Others had already heard the truth. It didn't take long for word to spread that Rachel wasn't the victim she pretended to be. I hadn't even needed to tell the whole story. I let one screenshot do the work. The rest unraveled on its own. She didn't handle the fallout well. I heard through Samira that Rachel's version of the story kept changing. At first, she said we were taking space. Then, that I'd left suddenly and was going through something. When people stopped buying that, she pivoted, claimed I had grown cold and controlling, that I was the one who pulled away first. She didn't realize that the moment she tried to spin the narrative, she lost what little credibility she had left. Because people remember who they saw us as, the couple that always showed up together, always made things easy. They remembered how I carried the weight of the relationship in the last year, the energy I put in, the kindness I kept giving, long after it stopped being returned. They also remembered Drew. Turns out Rachel's friend hadn't stuck around. A few days after I served her the papers, he stopped texting back, ghosted her. The same man she gambled everything on couldn't even be bothered to send a goodbye. The last time I saw a message from him, forwarded by Samira, it read, "You're on your own now. This got too messy." She never saw it coming. She thought Drew would be a way out, or at least a new beginning. Instead, he vanished. And with me gone, Rachel was left alone. No affair, no husband, and a reputation in ruins. But I didn't revel in it. I didn't talk about her, didn't vent in group chats, didn't make social media posts or cryptic stories. I just disappeared from her world. That was enough. In the following weeks, I started living again. I picked up hobbies I dropped, got back into running, joined a book club a coworker invited me to. I started sleeping better. My appetite returned. I even reached out to friends I'd slowly lost touch with during the tail end of the marriage. No one ever says it directly, but emotional neglect drains you just as much as any shouting match ever could. I'd spent years being whittled down by indifference, and now, piece by piece, I was putting myself back together. About 6 months after I left, I ran into her. It was random, a Tuesday evening at the grocery store. I was grabbing wine and bread for dinner with friends. She turned the corner with a cart and stopped when she saw me. We locked eyes for half a second, long enough for her to register that I was okay. Maybe better than okay. Her expression shifted fast, from surprise to something like hope, and then back to uncertainty. She opened her mouth, probably to say something. I nodded once, polite, then walked past her without a word. That moment, that silence, was more powerful than anything I could have said, because I knew what she wanted. She wanted proof that I was still hurting, that maybe she still had some power over me, that there was still a version of me, somewhere deep down, that would turn around and ask why, ask if she missed me, ask if she was sorry. But I didn't. I kept walking. And that, more than anything, was what broke her. The next morning, I received an email with no subject line. I didn't open it. A voicemail followed, her voice trembling, asking if we could meet, just to talk. I deleted both, because the truth is, I had nothing to gain from going backward. Rachel had become a closed chapter, and I'd wasted too much time rereading it, hoping the ending would change. Now I was writing something new. It's strange how quickly life settles once you stop clinging to what was never real. After Rachel, I didn't jump into anything new. I wasn't looking for rebound distractions or someone to fill the space she left. I needed time. Time to learn how to be alone again without feeling lonely. Time to figure out who I was when I wasn't bending myself to fit someone else's comfort zone. I learned a lot in that silence. I realized how much I had lost while trying to keep that marriage afloat. My confidence, my energy, my sense of worth, all chipped away by years of quiet rejection and emotional games I didn't even know I was playing. But the most important thing I realized, loving someone doesn't mean letting them hurt you indefinitely. Rachel had spent the last years of our marriage trying to turn me into someone smaller, someone who would keep giving even when she stopped caring. And for a while I let her. I excused the coldness, the distance, the dismissiveness. I thought if I was more patient, more generous, more attentive, she'd return the favor. She didn't, because she never wanted to. People like Rachel don't leave relationships. They drain them, slowly, quietly. So when they finally walk away, they can pretend they were the ones who gave everything, that it was your fault for being too much or not enough. And I almost believed that until I stopped reacting, until I stopped chasing, until I stopped showing up just to prove I still deserved to be chosen. That's when everything shifted. It didn't happen all at once, but over time, my life started to look and feel different. I was more present with people who mattered. I had real conversations without looking over my shoulder for judgment or dismissal. I laughed more, and not just at polite dinner parties. I woke up without dread. I went to bed without wondering who she was texting. I started to feel like myself again, And that version of me, the one that came after Rachel, he didn't need validation through suffering. He didn't find strength in enduring mistreatment or love in chasing people who withheld affection. He learned to say no, to walk away, to protect his peace instead of sacrificing it for someone else's comfort. Rachel still reached out from time to time. Not often, but just enough to remind me she hadn't truly let go. A message on my birthday. "Hey, how are you?" during the holidays. Always short, always pretending to be casual. I never answered, because responding, even with kindness, would only give her what she wanted, proof that some part of me still looked back. But I didn't. I had stopped looking back the day I packed my bag, sold my share of the house, and walked out without raising my voice. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need her to suffer. The divorce had been fair. No money exchanged, no legal fights, just clean severance. And that was enough. Still, word got around. I heard she tried dating again, but nothing stuck. Maybe people saw through her charm faster this time. Maybe she realized that without someone constantly proving their devotion, she had no idea how to sustain something real. Or maybe for the first time, she had to sit with herself and didn't like the company. I'll never know for sure. And I don't need to, because the real closure wasn't her apology or admission. It wasn't the divorce or the silence I left her in. The real closure came when I realized I didn't want her back. Not as a partner, not as a friend, not even as a memory. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing not to carry someone else's mistakes any further than you have to. So I forgave her, not for her sake, but for mine. I moved on, found a new apartment, took weekend trips without explaining where I was going or why, spent time with people who laughed with me, not at me, built a life that didn't need to be posted online to feel real. And maybe one day I'll meet someone new, someone who doesn't make love conditional, someone who understands loyalty isn't earned by suffering. But I'm in no rush, because healing isn't about finding someone else to make you whole. It's about remembering you were never broken to begin with, just tired of holding yourself together for someone who let go a long time ago. So if you're listening to this, and you're in a place where the silence feels heavy, where you're wondering if you're asking for too much, know this: you're not too much. You're asking the wrong person. Let them go. Let them wonder. Let them realize too late that the person they ignored was the best thing they never truly appreciated. And when they finally do, don't look back.